Coral City, Istvaan III, Istvaan System, 005.M31. Tick, tick, tick. It is not enough. Gritty white ceramite is now brightly crimsoned by my brother's blood. My gauntleted fist is hammering into Rawl's snarling face even as he drives his gladius deeper into my wounded side, rupturing lesser internal organs as he struggles to pierce my hearts. Yet it is not enough. The nails demand more. More bloodshed. More violence. More death. There can be no end to it. Despite the immediate peril, I cannot bring myself to disengage. I am committed to slaying Rawl even if it means dying at his hand in turn. I crouch atop the World Eater's chest like a beast poised above its prey, raining down blow after blow, oblivious to the rush of raging legionaries surging past me. Rawl's blood soils my exposed face as I brutally bludgeon him with all my strength. My helmet is gone. I cannot recall if it was torn from me or if I discarded it earlier in the fighting. My left arm has been hacked off at the elbow. I have no memory of losing it either, or the chain axe I had been wielding. No matter. It is better this way. Much better. Tick, tick, tick. Die! Die, traitor! I roar as Rawl's skull begins to cave in. He gives the gladius a final, desperate wrench. Red, tainted spittle sprays from my jaws as I gasp at the violation. The blade has snagged my spine. All sensation leaves my legs. The World Eater's features dissolve into a slurry of blood and pulverized bone as my gauntlet crushes his head. My groping fingers close about the pain engine digging into his brain, and I rip it free with an exultant howl of triumph. The action unbalances me, and I fall heavily amongst the fresh corpses strewn across the ruined plaza. Rawl's carcass joining the detritus of wanton carnage surrounding me on all sides. Scores of World Eater legionaries lie still and silent, their bloodied gauntlets still gripping their broken weapons, locked together in death. The sounds of combat have faded. The battle has swept on, and I have been left behind. Nothing but garbled static hisses from the Vox bead in my ear. Unit cohesion has broken down entirely. I do not know if Captain Erlin still lives. I do not know what has befallen the warriors of my squad. I know only one thing for certain. Now, one terrible truth that has arisen to eclipse all others, drowning all our endeavors and sacrifices in darkness. We have been betrayed. Tick, tick, tick. A deep, intimate agony such as no other weapon can inflict upon my flesh pulses through the defiled meat of my mind as the nails punish me for ceasing to kill. It cannot be helped. There is nothing here left to slay. A pathetic mewl of pain inadvertently escapes my lips and my breathing grows strained as I strive to remain coherent. With the nails ravaging my brain and combat stim still burning in my veins, it is a struggle merely to maintain a grip on my sanity. My hand trembles as I pull Rawl's gladius from my side. Fresh blood washes over the gore-stained blade. Multiple organs have been pierced. From the waist down I feel nothing. I cannot walk. I cannot rejoin my brothers in punishing the traitors. The traitors! We have been betrayed, deceived, cast off and sent down to Istvaan III to die. Now those of us who survived the Life Eater virus bombardment shall fall to the axes and guns of those they once called brother. I have committed open fratricide on the field of battle. I have taken the lives of brother Space Marines I had once fought alongside. Why? Why? Angron, Fulgrim, Mortarion, and the War Master himself. 4 primarchs. 4 of the Emperor's own progeny united in conspiracy and rebellion. Their hands now dripping with the blood of their own gene sons. What madness has befallen them? What has caused them to forsake their vows and sanction the slaughter of their own legionaries? Why have we been condemned to such a death? Why has our father lifted up his hand against us? I am betrayed! I bellow aloud, giving voice to the overwhelming turmoil of my hearts. Betrayed unto death! Father, devourer of worlds, red butcher! Can you hear me, Father? Do you know what you have done? The dead city is indifferent to my pitiful outburst. Froth bubbles between my clenched teeth as the nails continue their unrelenting torment. I embrace the pain and cease crying out like a lost child. I lie quietly amongst my slain brethren, waiting, bloodied by fratricide, a traitor's weapon clenched tight in my fist. Others shall come soon enough. Someone will find me. I lower my head and steady my breathing. Perhaps Angron himself will come. I do not want to die in ignorance. I must hear the truth from my Genesire's own lips before the end. I must know why. What is it like to stand in the presence of your primarch? I once asked of Captain Dersius of the Ultramarines 83rd Company during a brief layover at the Ender starport, following the Avogarden cleansings. He had frowned at the question, in contemplation rather than anger, before answering proudly. It is like standing before the concentrated essence of every battle king to ever rule Macragge, distilled in the mind, heart, and will of one singular being, and knowing, without question and beyond all doubt, that for as long as he exists, the ideal of the Imperium will never fail. Ferrus. Brother Sergeant Ferrus. The Vox beat crackles to life in my ear. Awareness returns in an instant. My eyes snap open. I do not remember closing them. Mere minutes have passed. I raise my head, teeth bared, my heart's quickening to combat readiness in the span of a second. 3 World Eater legionaries are moving wearily, almost furtively, amongst the bodies of their slain genekin, hunting for targets. I recognize them at once. As battle-mauled as they are, my remaining squad brothers have returned for me, though they, too, are far from unscathed. Isadir's right arm hangs uselessly at his side, armor, bone, and muscle alike savaged by bolter fire. Grax is helmless, half of his face reduced to a raw, weeping mess of scorched flesh, likely from the discharge of a plasma gun. Frakal, my second in command, moves with a noticeable hitch in his stride. He is walking on a broken leg but refuses to allow the injury to impede him. The white and blue of their war plate is obscured by blood, yet they remain resolute and unbowed. My heart swells with pride as they approach me. A pity my own wounds are so severe. We will not stay together for long. Brothers, report. I snarl raggedly as I use Rule's Gladius to prop myself up against his lifeless corpse. The situation is dire, Sergeant Ferrus. Frakal growls, his rough voice tight with suppressed pain, his fury masked behind his dented, gore-spattered helm. Captain Erlen is dead. The traitors ripped off his face and quartered his body with their blades while he yet drew breath. Angron intends to purge us in person. He and our turncoat brothers hunt us with axe and bolter throughout the city, and heavy armor is being deployed even as we speak. They will not stop until we are slaughtered to the last man. According to Vox rumor, a captain of the Emperor's children, Sol Tarvitz, is attempting to establish a center of organized resistance alongside surviving loyal sons of Horus and Death Guard legionaries. What are your orders? So, one of Fulgrim's preening peacocks is trying to run this shitfest now, is he? How typical. That's quite possibly the best news I've heard all day. I grin a rictus grin, saliva still dribbling from my lips as I fight to maintain control of myself. As far as the nails are concerned, the best course of action would be for me to tear Frakau's head from his shoulders and beat him to death with it. I am sure he feels similarly compelled. Seek out this loyal whelp of the Phoenician brothers, and lend him your strength. Should you encounter other survivors, compel them to accompany you. Failing that, kill as many of the traitorous whore sons as you can before you die. I will not be able to. The distant clamor of power-armored footfalls brings an end to all plans. Seconds later, the cheering of our foes reaches our ears. A host of our treasonous brethren are bellowing out a single name over and over as they hack and hew their way towards our position. Bolters bark. Whirring chain blades shriek. World Eaters roar and rage as they clash and die. The cheering swells. The traitors are glorying in their orders, reveling in the butchery of their brothers, striving slavishly to win the begrudging regard of the primarch. Rage boils up within me. A rage so incandescent it threatens to submerge my reasoning in the intensity of its purity. Angron! Father is coming! Grax rasps, apropos of nothing. He revs his bloody chain axe, an eager snarl contorting his burned features. Something passes privately between Frakau and Istvaan over the Vox, and before I can issue new orders, the two World Eaters stoop and pull me upright, causing my mangled organs to shift unnaturally within me. Leave me, you craven yellow-bellied curs! I howl furiously as they half carry, half drag my crippled body from the plaza and towards a partly demolished courthouse. I'll not cower or hide from the Primarch's axes like a skulking son of Korax. Angron must answer for this. Stop whining, you damn stubborn old warhound! Istvaan grates out as the two legionaries haul me into the building's wrecked interior, their boots crunching over cracked marble tiles and shattered glass. We're too few and too exposed. In here we can prolong the engagement and kill more of the bastards. Better that than being gunned down like chaff out in the open. Ignoring my curses, they manhandle me up 2 flights of stone steps before dumping me like an unwanted burden on the second landing. Rules Gladius slips from my hand as I convulse and cough up blood. Gasping like an old man, I dig my armored fingers into the polished basalt wall to keep from sliding sideways. A grey mist steals across my vision, and I recall. What is it like to stand in the presence of your Primarch? I once asked of Stormseer Uragulsi of the Brotherhood of the Painted Stallion, after a White Scar's strike force had broken through the Physixi blockade, enabling our ground forces to take the Xenos primary nest spire. The question had surprised him, yet he had responded truthfully after a span of careful consideration. It is like standing before the wind personified. A tireless wind that sweeps us across the furthest voids, ever guiding our blades as we ride in conquest of this frontier of stars that knows no end. Tick. 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 I open my eyes again and see that my warriors have not been idle. Weapons stripped from the corpses of fallen World Eaters have been arrayed neatly by my side as if offered in tribute. 3 fully loaded bolt guns and a functional chainsword are within easy reach of my remaining hand. A bandolier of frag grenades has been looped over my left pauldron, and someone, likely Frakau, has secured Rules Gladius to my wrist with a length of scavenged cabling. Relief washes over me. As broken as I am, I will still be able to go down fighting like a true legionary. My thanks, brothers. I growl into the Vox transmitter embedded in my gorget as I begin gathering the grenades, priming each one to detonate on impact. I will bleed many traitors and avenge our murdered brethren before death claims me. Do not be found wanting. Die well, my proud eaters of worlds. Ave Imperator. We'll try to leave a few for you, Varus.
but I'll make no promises.
Even over the distorting effects of the Vox, I can still detect the ferocious joy in Frakau's voice as he prepares to lose himself to the Nail's embrace.
Someone needs to teach these wayward mongrels a lesson in loyalty. I am going to enjoy this.
As well you should. The old legends say the deepest pits of hell are reserved for oathbreakers and kinslayers. Kill them all, Frakau. Kill Angron himself if he dares to come.
I shall.
He cuts the link and I know I will never speak with him again. The traitor World Eaters are not long in arriving. There are no windows near me that overlook the plaza, but even through the thick walls I can hear their cheering reaching a crescendo, and no individual kill squads are spreading out to hunt for dug-in defenders. The seconds drag themselves by with infuriating slowness. I cough up more blood and wonder if I will live long enough to fulfill my vows. Then bolt of fire rings out from somewhere below, and I grin in satisfaction as my men make their righteous fury known. Brothers Isadir, Grax, and Frakau, all worthy sons of the 12th Legion, all faithful and true to the Master of Mankind, fight their final battle with all the ferocity of demons out of ancient Terran myth, and die like dogs in the face of their brethren's overwhelming assault. Belligerent oaths and defiant war cries swiftly give way to grunts of pain and howls of frustration as wounds take their toll and the attacking World Eaters press their advantage. No mercy is expected and none is given. I am witness to none of their deaths. Instead, I scent the air and listen as they are overcome and butchered in quick succession. Frakau is the last to fall, spitting vile insults upon the heads of Angron, Horus, and the mothers of each and every space marine who has dared rebel against the Emperor. The traitors fall upon him like starving wolves, and he screams like a mortal as his limbs are severed and his intestines are torn from his body. Even as his death cries are cut short, a multitude of pounding footsteps echo up the stairway, driven into a killing frenzy by the nails and the prolonged spilling of their brother's blood. The first two legionaries to come charging blindly around the corner die upon reaching the first landing, their skulls blown open by several precision headshots. I keep firing even as their bodies collapse and the second pair are likewise dispatched, their corpses momentarily hindering those following after. Taking advantage of the brief opening, I drop the bolt gun and toss a few grenades. The ensuing detonations mutilate the foremost World Eaters beyond recovery, causing the enraged legionaries below to bay and curse, promising me a slow and ignoble death. I laugh at their threats, salivating as the stench of my slaughtered foes washes over me like balmy sea breeze. It will not be long until I am as crazed as they are, but I must not succumb to the kill madness. Not yet. Come, you worthless, shit-eating sons of swine! Come face me, faithless blackguards! I roar as I raise a second bolt gun and ready myself for the next assault. I will slay every single one of you, and when I return to Terra to inform the Emperor of your perfidy, I will heap your skulls in a glorious mound before the Golden Throne. And I will personally present your skull to the War Master on a spike. One of their centurions vows as the legionaries begin advancing again at a slower, more controlled pace. I suddenly find myself keenly missing my lost arm. I would have preferred dying with Bloodsplitter, my trusted chain axe held fast in my grip for a final time. No. Stand down. He is mine. At Angron's command, an immediate hush descends. The World Eaters fall back, leaving the first landing uncontested and their dead lying where they have fallen. I sag limply against the wall, clutching desperately to the bolter, microspasms racking my flesh as the nails exact their revenge for having been denied once again. Blood is now running freely from my nose and mouth. Awareness wavers. Consciousness ebbs. So consuming is the nerve-shredding torment that when the whole stairway suddenly shudders beneath the weight of a demigod's tread, I do not respond as a true World Eater should. Instead, I close my eyes, seeking a momentary shred of respite, and I remember. What is it like to stand in the presence of your primarch? I once asked a veteran Sergeant Afriayam in the aftermath of the Blood Angels and World Eaters joint compliance of Basque. He had smiled at my question, his noble face alight with devotion.
It is like standing before a blazing sun, whose rays forever pierce the darkness, a sun about which we eternally circle, our orbits never to be broken, a sun that will never set, a light that can never be extinguished.
Then he had glanced at me sidelong, his blue eyes thoughtful.
Why do you wish to know? Is it not the same for you whenever you enter into the presence of the Lord of the Red Sands?
Varus.
My father speaks my name and I open my eyes for the last time. The Lord of the 12th Legion stands below me, gazing upward, and although I hold the high ground, it seems as if he is towering over me like a colossus, looking down upon me, judging me, regarding me in the same manner a huntsman might regard a badly injured hound that is no longer fit to feed. Chains rattle against the peerless Martian-forged plates of his brazen gold and crimson power armor. His twin artificer chain axes, Gore-Father and Gore-Child, have been powered down. The Primarch holds them crossed close to his chestplate, the weapons no less threatening despite the passive stance. It seems impossible that the stairway should accommodate his mighty bulk, yet he stands easy within the enclosed space, seemingly untroubled by its basalt confines.
Varus, I have come. You have something you wish to tell me.
I blink my bloody eyes, my vision now hazed with arterial red, my breathing harsh and labored as death drags its talons through my ruptured innards. My brief moment of weakness in the plaza had not gone unnoticed. My challenge has been answered, but Angron has not come in response to a son's agonized cries of anguish and rage. My gene sire is not here to give succor or console. The bright transhuman blood of my fallen brothers drenches him from head to foot. The teeth of his axes are clotted with the gen-hanced gore of his own legionaries. He has come to kill me for my loyalty and for my weakness, and that is all. Perhaps I should be honored. Perhaps I should consider it a privilege to be granted such a death. But I feel nothing but rage, pure and incandescent. I am now the scion of a legion of oath-breakers and murderers. Honor is dead. Now there can be only vengeance. Tick. 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 I let the bolt gun speak for me. In the half-second it takes for me to lift the weapon and fire the first shot, Angron dips his head and raises Gore-Father to shield his exposed face. The bolt rounds strike the flat of the uplifted chain axe, but instead of detonating, the shots inexplicably ricochet from Gore-Father's surface to explode harmlessly against the walls and ceiling, showering powdered stone across the Primarch's pauldrons. Angron begins to mount the stairs, the servo joints of his ornate warplate grinding and growling as he ascends unperturbed into a stream of bolter fire. The magazine clicks empty. I cast the gun aside and grab for the remaining grenades. Like a striking whip, Gore-Child lashes out, still deactivated, and 4 of my ceramite-clad fingers join the spent shell casings littering the steps. Why? I snarl thickly through the pain and the blood, all of my fury and despair surging up to force the question into being. Father, why have you turned against?
No.
The Primarch growls as he lowers Gore-Father, his lips lifting in scorn to expose his dark metal teeth, his bloodshot eyes narrowing in contempt. A single swift blow to the chest and I am hurled backwards. the air driven clean from my birth lungs, my breastplate riven asunder, my carapace crushed.
No, Varus. Too many have already squandered their last moments asking me that wretched question, and I am tired of explaining myself.
He bends over me, the full force of his regard almost impossible to endure.
Instead, I will ask the questions. Tell me, Varus, why did you not resist when I gave the order to have the butcher's nails introduced throughout the Legion? Why did you volunteer instead to have your brain cut open and the nails implanted?
I can barely comprehend the question. My thoughts are fracturing. My jaws gape as I struggle to draw in a single soaring breath. Death snaps eagerly at my throat, mere heartbeats away. You are my primarch, I gasp. My progenitor, my liege and my general. How could I have gone against your will? I thought the nails would bring me closer to you. You are
a slave!
Angron bellows, his rage rising, his tortured face a perfect reflection of my own.
I am a slave, Varus, and I was so close to dying free. Free, and fighting alongside my true brothers and sisters against the tyrannical High Riders of Nuceria. That would have been a fitting end. But then the Emperor spirited me away, forcing me to leave my comrades in arms behind, to be slaughtered, forsaken and unmourned. And what did I inherit from him in exchange? An entire legion of dogs, obedient, groveling warhounds, most of whom rolled right over and submitted to the implantation of the nails without resistance. A legion of cowardly curs who have the audacity to call themselves my sons.
His pain-filled eyes ablaze with fervor. The Primarch leans in closer as if to confide a long-held secret. His breath reeks of blood and spoiled meat.
A true son would have stood up to his father at the prospect of such defilement. A true son would have spat in my face and damned me to hell rather than willingly surrender his freedom. Yet you did not. You are no true son of mine, Sergeant Varus. You are a thrall to the greatest High Rider this galaxy has ever known. But I will be my father's slave no longer, and neither will the World Eaters. So die as the Emperor's dog, Varus. Die forsaken and unmourned, just as my gladiators died on Nuceria fighting in futility for a chance to be free. You will not be missed.
I am sinking downwards into darkness. Angron straightens, preparing to turn away. With the last of my strength, I find my courage and spit out 3 words with my final breath. 3 words I have carried deep within me ever since the day I had emerged from the surgical chambers of the Conqueror's Apothecarian after having received the nails. 3 words nurtured in bitter secrecy throughout hundreds of campaigns and thousands of battles. 3 words no space marine of the Legiones Astartes has ever said to the face of their Primarch. I hate you. And as death's jaws close about me, something flickers in the depths of Angron's eyes. Something I have always yearned to see, despite the pain and the madness and the disregard he has inflicted upon us. Something I long for even at the end, as I breathe my last in a graveyard city of broken oaths and shattered dreams. In my father's eyes, I finally see it before the darkness takes me. Approval.